Hey guys, just a little video about some barbecuing. First one here with my little charcoal chimney. If you've ever wanted to get one and not sure how they are supposed to work, they're fantastic. They work quickly. You don't have to use that nasty lighter fluid or barbecue fluid. So here we go. So I have a chimney. It's about halfway full of some charcoal briquettes. You don't have to have it all the way full. This is a pretty big one. This is a Weber. They're bigger than a lot of the other ones. So anyway, I've got it halfway full of charcoal briquettes. I've got some paper from the bag of the charcoal briquettes, and I've got a lighter. So you basically want to loosely crumble up your paper. Sorry about the video being a little bit wobbly. Trying to do this with two hands. So I've got the paper underneath there. I usually use a charcoal briquette to lift one side. Let's see if we can get this to work. There we go. I've got it lifted to one side, as you can see, and I'm just going to try. Oh, I got the bad lighter. It helps to have a really good lighter. This one I've been needing to replace for quite a while, and for whatever reason I can't make myself do it. When you get something that you like and you use, it's kind of hard to get rid of it. I bet my wife would say that about me. Didn't really mean to set that one on fire, but she'll be alright. You can see down there, the air holes in the bottom of this and the air holes right here is going to allow plenty of air for that fire to just pretty much take off. And the fire starts the charcoal bricks from underneath. Is a very efficient way to do it. There are other things you could do. You can get little pucks that have a, I don't know what the chemical is, but you light it and it goes, and it lights pretty quickly. But you can see this is taking off. The reason why I put that charcoal brick is to allow extra air underneath there for it to start fairly quickly. See, check this out. It's about 5 minutes later, and I already have some white coals, some red fire going on. So it's a very efficient thing to use. If you've ever wondered about using one, I would suggest getting one. You don't have to worry about lighter fluid anymore. It's very clean, very easy. Do it. But get a better lighter. Second part of me smoking pork butts today, I use a 22-inch Weber kettle, or not a kettle, Weber Smoky Mountain. I love it. It's very efficient. Holds heat. I can use one bag of charcoal, actually a little bit less, for a full 12-13 hour smoke. And here's a method I learned quite a while back. It's called the Minion method. What you do is you take, there's all kinds of methods, but what you do is you take your charcoal, put a hole in the middle, and then that charcoal over there that we started, we're going to put right in the center of that. And what's going to happen is you got the hot coals here, and instead of everything being lit on fire and you burning through your fuel too quickly, it's going to kind of slowly light itself around in kind of a circular fashion. And when it gets to up here, we're going to get our smoke. And I use hickory chunks for this thing. I like hickory, and when you want a decently heavy smoke on a big piece of meat like pork butt, I think it's a good go-to. You can use post oak too. You can use any wood you want, but this is my go-to. All right, there you go. Just put the hot coals in the center of that, and you can see they're not all lit. You don't want them to be fiery red volcano hot, because you don't want everything to light right away. You want it to kind of linger, heat your smoke chamber up without going through all your fuel. Here's my pork butts. I'm doing 6 of them, and these are pretty big. Got them on sale. I always try to find some on sale. Most of them are pretty good. They got lots of fat running through there, even if they're not the prettiest. When you're doing pulled pork, it's very, very usable. Anyway, I do a 2-part rub. I do a Texas style salt and pepper. You can see the large pepper granules, and there's some kosher salt in there. And then the red color that you see is a rub I make. It's a very simple rub. It's got a little sugar. It's mostly savory with a little sugar on the back end of it. That I sprinkle on that. I got it on both sides. Like I said, these are pretty big. There's about 10 pounds a piece. Just wanted to show you that. There's not a lot to show you, except for all I'm doing is sprinkling a 50-50 kosher salt, coarse black pepper on the pork butt, and then letting it sit for about 5 minutes, and then sprinkling what I have left of this on top and on the sides and on the bottom. Alright, we got all 6 of the pork butts in my Weber. I wanted to show you something. You saw the charcoal, how much I had in there. Now if you want to go all day, as long as possible, with that amount of fuel, with having to put just very little in there, then don't open these vents all the way. The more air you have through there, the faster that fuel is going to burn through. So I usually do them out about 3/4 open, to not allow all the air to go in there, and I'll get about 10 to 12 hours on what I have in there. Sometimes up to 13, depending on what the weather is outside. And it's kind of chilly, so I'll probably get a pretty long cook time. So anyway, these are very large, but this Weber can hold 6 to 8. 8 if they're about 8 pounds a piece. These are about 10 to 11 pounds. They're very large, and they'll go on for a long time. And then I'll wrap them, and I'll show you that part in here in about 7 hours. All right, y'all. We're sitting at about 6.5 hours, and it's been about 225. It's crept up there to about 250 a couple of times, but it stayed within this mark for many hours. So we're about to take a look. We should be able to take them off and wrap them in some foil and put them back in there. Let's look at them. Oh yeah, we're in a good spot. I like the color. It'll get a little bit darker even as it's wrapped. You can see the ones underneath there. They're getting dark, but they're not black. I like that. So we got some nice bark all the way around it. What we'll do is bring them over here, wrap them in this foil. But before we close them wrapped, I'm going to actually sprinkle a little bit more of this. This is not this is not granulated garlic, as you can see. I've just got some more rub in here, and we're going to sprinkle a little bit of that on there, wrap it up, put them back in the smoker for probably another 6 hours, and we'll be good to go. As you can see, I've put a little more of my homemade seasoning on there, the barbecue rub. And when I wrap these up, even with the dry seasonings on there, a lot of the liquid of the fat and everything else that renders out of that pork is going to liquefy, and it's going to pick up the seasoning, the dry seasoning, and it's going to dissolve that with the warm liquid, and you're going to have kind of its own marinade. It's going to have the garlic, the cumin, the chili powders, the sugar, and the salt. It's going to make a really nice jus to go into the pork. Here they are, 6 pork butts wrapped up and ready to go to bed for another 5-6 hours. Alright, y'all, it is 10 o'clock, and these pork butts have been on the smoker for about 12 hours, and they are good and done. You can see the smoke maybe coming off there. If you look at all that juice, there is a big debate. It's not a debate to me of whether you wrap or don't wrap. If you don't wrap these pork butts, that juice that's in the bottom of that is going to go nowhere else except for in the bottom of that smoker, and you're not going to be able to put it back into the pork when you pull it. So if you do wrap, what you have is juice that doesn't go anywhere except for the bottom of that aluminum foil that now you get to reconstitute into the pulled pork, and you don't lose all that beautiful flavor like I was talking about before. And as you can see, nice bark. It did get a little bit darker like I was telling you, and you can see the bone protruding out. I'm going to try to give this a little pull. Oh yeah, pulled right out nice and clean. Let's see if the other one does that too. Both of them nice and clean. So that is our pulled pork, and what's beautiful about these is they are going to go into some amazing tamales. Just had to show you one more thing here. You can see the juice in the bottom of the pan. I know I showed you in the foil, it's hard to see, but I've taken the foil off and flipped them over. So this is the back side, the part of the pork butt that doesn't have that fat cap on it. Look at all that juice. And the color of that is a combination of the smoke and the seasoning I put on top and in the foil before I wrapped it. And I wanted to show you this right here. This is a money shot. Let's see if I can make this work. This is called the money muscle. You can see how incredibly moist it is. There's a lot of fat running through there, a lot of moisture. It's going to make really, really, really good tamales.